My name is Barrister Hannatu Musawa. I'm the Minister of Art, Culture, Tourism and the Creative Economy, Federal Republic of Nigeria. When you talk about patronage, for me, is really about support. Is really as a Nigerian to see how we can support the industry or to support artists within the industry so that we can look at how we can really build in terms of the next generation, the young generation, and just to build the different values and worth that can come out of this particular ecosystem, can only be really realized if we give that support. So for me, really, when you talk about patronage, is really about seeing how we as Nigerians can support the art and just the cultural industry. What supports me to support Nigerian artists is the different worth that, like I said, can come out of the industry for a younger generation. It is very important. Not every Nigerian has access to oil wealth, but every Nigerian can have access to the art industry. Every Nigerian, no matter the community that they come from, has a form of expression of art. So I feel art has the ability and the resonance to really reach out and touch the lives of every Nigerian. It is, again, very important because I think through the form of art, we can tell our story. Through the form of art, we can define who we are as a people. No longer should we let anybody define who we are. And I think one of the great ways that we can, from a global perspective and from a local perspective in defining who we are as a people, is through really the medium of art. So, supporting the art industry is important for a plethora of reasons. And of course, unity, because when you talk about art, it's one way that we can unite ourselves. It's one of the languages that we all really understand as a people. So for many, many reasons, I think it is important to support the industry and to support young, emerging Nigerian artists. I see the future of the art industry as one that can really reposition us as a people. When you talk again about defining ourselves as a people, we shouldn't allow anyone to define ourselves. And one of the ways that we can do it is through the creative industry. And of course, art is a huge part of that creative industry. So from a global point of view, we can redefine and reposition who we are as a people without anyone dictating to us who we are. And of course, from a local point of view, of course, I've spoken about unity, but again, is really about the future. I think through the medium of art, we can have a bridge to the future. Our forefathers did huge amounts of work and a huge amount of resource in terms of building the art industry with the different relics and the different artifacts that they did. But I think what we need to understand is that is part of our history. But we have a present and we have a future. And one of the ways that we can really move to the future in a different manner is to support the art industry now, because there really needs to be a sort of evolution and a bridge to the future. So by supporting the art industry now, we can really redefine ourselves and build that bridge to the future so that the form of expression that we have in art again can evolve. And this can be done again through the support that we have for the industry now. I think it's very important for public organizations and for the government to continue supporting the industry, because there are certain frameworks and regulatory frameworks and policies that the industry needs to come from government specifically in order to be able to give artists the ability to function in a more structured and in a more expanded manner. So when you talk about, for example, intellectual property, of course, artists will not be able to control that, but government is one of the things that you need to put regulation in place that will be able to protect, the industry. Is one of the things that we are doing as a government to deliver intellectual property and the different regulations and the different cultural policies and the creative economy policies or the creative industry policies that will be able to allow artists to, expand their crafts. Government needs to work together with the private sector to ensure that we give all those opportunities and we're able to open up the different vistas. Government, again, has to find ways of injecting funding to the industry. And again, it's one of the things that we're working very, very hard on. The policies, the legal and regulatory framework and the industry and the infrastructure that is required, the artists, institutions, the different schools that will allow young emerging Nigerian artists that may have raw talent, but just don't have the ability to cultivate that talent, to be able to present a different kind of expression and give them the opportunity to become one of the great artists that Nigeria will be very proud of on a global setting. What Mrs. Tola Akerele, the general manager of the Wole Soyinka Center, is doing in the art sector is absolutely astronomical. I think I personally cannot thank her enough. What +234 is doing is really giving that bridge that I spoke about earlier on for young emerging artists to realize their future. When I came here, when you see the different formation of the art that she's been able to put together and the opportunity that young artist has been given is one that will really last for the ages. And Mr. Osa, his collection, like I said, is an eclectic piece of work that really is representative of what Nigeria has to offer. I want to thank Tola Akerele and +234 for what they're doing for the ecosystem. And I know when one day we look back at the ecosystem and the history and evolution of the ecosystem, Tola Akerele and +234 would have been part of that trajectory of building storytelling for Nigeria. So I want to thank +234 for what it has done, not only for the ecosystem, but for the creative industry at large. I'm Barrister Hannatu Musawa, Minister of Art, Culture, Tourism and the Creative Economy, Federal Republic of Nigeria. And the Ministry of Art, Culture, Tourism and Creative Economy is very, very honored and happy to endorse +234 and what Mrs. Tola Akerele is doing, the GM of the Wole Soyinka Center is doing not only for the ecosystem, the art ecosystem, but the creative industry. Thank you so much.